Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 9th of April and today we'll have a look at Tesla. I know we've been looking at it several times, but there's some interesting development. Once again, on the 5th Friday, it actually bounced from the 160.51 support level. See, it was the third time it did that, and then yesterday it was up by almost 5%. If it can get a little bit of momentum from that, then we are looking at testing this resistance gap here, this gap here that is really key, that got rejected right back there. So keep an eye on that. What is also interesting to keep an eye on is we have this upper falling trend line here on the RSI, testing it at the moment. If it does close above, well, with the RSI divergence is indicating that at least short term there could be some upside potential, and the downtrend has been exhausted, at least short term. But if we're looking at the weekly chart, as you can see here, why it is such an important key level. We have lower lows and lower highs all the way down here, but really key levels support there, and 152.37 is the lows from back in April last year. That is also interesting. So really around this time also last year we actually did bounce off. So something to keep an eye on next couple of days, what will how it will play out for Tesla. On the overall market, S&P 500 more or less unchanged yesterday. The top and reversal pattern still in place. 5,057 is the key support that could be tested, but let's see. We have the Nasdaq also above 17,808. If it does take out the previous peak here at 18,465, well, then the uptrend has resumed, and we are looking at higher levels. So maybe there's some strength going into May. We don't know that yet, but keep an eye on the levels. On the Euro stocks, we still have this also top and reversal pattern in place, bearish engulfing, key support 49.76, that should be observed. DAX also hovering around this rising trend line here. We actually have now a lower low and lower high, so we are actually very short term in a downtrend, could test the 17,900 support level. Amsterdam index really still holding up above the 872, so not much news there really. So let's move on to CAC 40, that has some interest. It actually also formed a little bit of a downtrend here, trying to get back above. If it does get back above this horizontal line, this little candle here, 8,190, if we do close above that, then I think we will also have a push towards the previous peak, and we could see CAC 40 resuming uptrend. But for now, we're in a short-term downtrend with potential down to around 78.75. And finally, when we're talking indices, well, Swiss 11,496, some support there, and a little bit of resistance here. This gap resistance here, or gap area, is key to watch. 11,595. If it does close above that, well, then it will try to push higher. But we are still in a little bit of a downtrend. It's not confirmed. We're still in a positive sentiment on the RSI. So keep an eye on these levels there. Moving on to FX, euro dollar bounced a little bit yesterday in late session. Still below the 100 moving average. You can see that pinkish line here, and this spike up there just below the 61.8 retracement at 108.32. If we do get a close above that level, well, then I think we will see a push up to the 786 retracement at 109.26. But we are in negative. We have negative sentiment, and you have the moving averages coming down. So we should see a push lower in the coming days. But everything could change if your dollar moves above the 618 retracement. Other than that, a little bit range bound here, at least short term, but keep an eye on those levels. Cable, more or less the same picture as euro dollar. If it does take out the spike up there at 126.84, then we could see a push up to the 61.8 retracement of 127.58, but the pressure is to the downside very short term. but I would say a little bit a range bound in this area here could be expected around 126. So a little bit frustrating without a clear signal. Dollar yen trying again today to break the 151.95 resistance. You can see this range here. That is really a tight range. 150.84 to the downside. Keep an eye on those levels for a breakout. Euro yen, the other pairs are moving, and you can also check out my article that was published late last week, Friday I think it was, on the yen pairs, actually telling the same story. Yesterday we closed above the 786 retracement on euro yen, and we are back above the 60 threshold on the RSI, meaning we are still confirming positive sentiment despite having divergence. If it can break above the previous peak here at 165.35, well, then there's room up to 166.40, possibly up to around 167 and a change. It seems like that's the way it's moving at the moment, at least. Aussie yen testing previous peak here after a minor correction. I think we will see a break above in probably later today or tomorrow towards 101.14, which is 1618 of this little correction here. We have the RSI back above the falling trend line actually, so it could be very close to cancelling the divergence pattern there. If it does break below the lows here at 99 and 19, well, then that picture is has been reversed. Sterling yen testing the 6-to-1-8 retracement 192.18 at the moment, also back above 60 threshold, or hovering just around the threshold. Yeah, trying to push higher, and I think we'll see a push up to the 786 retracement 192.77, and also not unlikely to test previous peaks, and if it takes out that one, then we are looking at 195 level. If it does collapse and take out 190, well, then the entire picture has changed. Jumping to the Swiss, where we have Euro Swiss. Actually, let's zoom into that. We can see what's going on here. So, testing a couple of times. Well, a couple of days ago, and I think we'll do it again. 98.42, some resistance here. This is actually the peak back from here. You can see it is a little bit stressed. You can see the RSI is declining, so it's not really supporting this last leg up here. So I think we will see a bit of correction lower, but there's some support at 97. Dollar Swiss also hovering around some resistant levels. It's actually the 786 retracement that is spiked above, then below, and now back above again and hovering around here. I think we are ripe for a little bit of correction that could take it lower, but on the medium term, we are still in an uptrend. But you can see this is a really key resistance area at the moment where we are trading. So expect some correction before next move up. We are bullish on the positive on the RSI medium term, so we should see a move higher in a few weeks. Moving on to the dollar index. I tried Friday, tried again yesterday, but couldn't hold on, so now it's sliding back. But we have all the moving averages coming up here, giving some support just around 103.70 level. If it does break below that, well, then we could see a dip down to 103.27. But we are in a positive sentiment, no divergence on RSI. We should see a move higher in the dollar index in coming days, but keep an eye on these levels around here, 103.68 for that. Moving on to commodities, and here we have gold that has reached 100% of the extension. So this leg up here is actually just as long as basically the same distance as the first one here, and then we had a little bit of correction, then 100% up. And what we could also do, we could do a projection and say, okay, just to get an idea where we possibly could move. You can see we are actually testing 786, but I will change that to 786. Sorry about that, but this is what you can do. I need to put it into my personal defaults, but 2,361, very close to, we are at 57 spike up. room up to 2400, and I think we will reach that. Whether it will be first take here or we will a little bit of correction, because we are stretched a little bit, but 2400 is not unlikely to be reached on gold. Moving on to silver, and I actually think I will move on to the weekly chart. We can see what's going on really. Zooming out a little bit, you can see here. So we are testing these close. This is weekly closing prices, just around 2800, just above at the moment. Spike up to 2875 is quite likely. But there's room up to really key strong resistance at 30 on the silver here. So you can see we have to go really far back to see levels like that. I mean, we are back to 2022. If it does break above that, well, we are really far back. But I don't think it will. But we could see a spike up here in coming days. What is also on the move is actually platinum. And let's just have a look at the daily chart. You can see the breakout yesterday, back above the cloud. Following through today, there's potential up to around 1000, 1015, where we have the previous peaks here in December, January. And I think we'll reach that. So we are on a very positive sentiment on the RSI. So it's really on the move at the moment. Palladium, not so much, but at the moment back above the cloud. And it never did move back below. So I think we'll see a push in Palladium to the 1100, possibly up to 1120, the previous peak here. So keep an eye on that. Finally, let's move on to the oil market. Just ticking away, and I think we are still in an uptrend, and there's potential up to around 90.37 on the short term on WTI. Brent crude 93.79 is what I'm looking at the moment. Finally, let's have a look at the US Treasury yields. You can see it pushed higher here yesterday, a little bit slow at the end, but there's the room up to around 450 resistance. We are in an uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. We should see a move higher in US Treasury yields. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.